Brittanee Drexel disappeared on April 25th, 2009. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Brittanee Drexel's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A teenager from Rochester, New York, sneaks away for spring break without her parents' permission.
Brittanee, she liked to play both of us. You know, if mom said no, dad said yes.
Being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, that's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
While walking back to her hotel, she suddenly vanishes.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
Have recent problems at home pushed her to the breaking point?
That was a warning that I need help.
What or who could have led Brittanee so far from home?
Where's my little girl? Is my little girl being tortured? Did my little girl get hurt?
I met Brittanee, I believe I was 15, she was 14. We became best friends, got to know each other, and been so close ever since.
She used to like to joke around a lot, laugh. Just her smile just made you smile back.
She was such a fun-loving girl and just smiling all the time.
April 22nd, 2009. It's spring break for high school students in Rochester, New York. And with a long winter barely behind them, 17-year-old Brittanee Drexel is ready for some warm sunshine. It's a long-standing rite of passage in the Rochester area for high school seniors to spend part of the week-long break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Just kids, no parental supervision.
There was about 30 or 40 kids going down to Myrtle Beach, and it's kind of a tradition for them to go down there. It's just like any other tourist area. You got hotels, you got shops. Those kids are going down there, drinking, doing drugs, partying, going out to night spots, and laying out on the beach.
Brittanee, a high school junior, is friendly with some older kids who ask her to join them for the trip down to Myrtle Beach.
She had asked me if she could go to Myrtle Beach, and I had told her no. And I also told her, you need to talk to your father. I know he wouldn't have allowed her to go, but, you know, she still needed to talk to both of us. And, you know, Brittanee, she liked to play both of us. If mom said no, dad said yes.
Dawn and Chad Drexel have recently decided to divorce. Their separation has taken a toll on Brittanee and her two siblings.
That Tuesday, Dawn called, 8-ish or something at night. Said, your daughter's not listening to me. She's bringing up the spring break. She wants to go down.
According to Chad, Brittanee had recently been sleeping late and skipping school. In his mind, it was no time for her to be going on vacation without parental supervision.
So I told her, Brittanee, what's going on? Where are you telling your mother that you want to go to spring break? You're not going anywhere. Silence. She didn't say nothing. Do you understand me, Brittanee? Yeah.
The next afternoon, Wednesday, the dispute continues. Brittanee is so upset, she storms out of the house. She calls her boyfriend, John Greco, and asks him to pick her up. John, who has been dating Brittanee on and off for over 2 years, knows how much Brittanee wants to get away for spring break.
Her junior year was a tough year for her. She was dealing with her family being in a divorce. Any problem that me and her would have would escalate the anxiety that she was carrying.
Brittanee's close friend Tara has seen how hard junior year has been for her classmate.
She just wanted to hang out with her friends, just not have to stay home. She wanted to go away for spring break. She wanted to just be able to have fun for a week outside of Rochester.
In the months before her disappearance, Brittanee has had her share of problems. She overdosed twice on her mom's pain medication. Both times are after a major breakup with John. Brittanee's father believes she was feeling the strain of her parents' divorce as well.
In my heart, I felt like this is all my fault because I left the house and now all these things are happening. I went straight to the hospital. They pumped her. She didn't take as many as everyone thought. But that was a warning that I need help.
I could remember the look on her face. Her face was just all red and she was just crying. Tears were just coming down her face. And I looked at her and I said, Britt, why would you do this? Why? Nothing in life is that bad to do this.
Brittanee began seeing a counselor and eventually reconciled with John. This kind of troubling behavior was unusual for her. Brittanee had been a carefree child. She talked about becoming a nurse and was also passionate about soccer.
She was just the fastest on that field, no matter what team she played. It's the one thing that every coach always said was, I've never seen a girl that fast.
Brittanee, she's energetic, happy-go-lucky. She was the type of person that would walk into a room, no matter if it was the most depressing day of the week, she would light up that room.
But Brittanee's fun-loving spirit is dampened on Wednesday, April 22nd, when her mother refuses her request to go to Myrtle Beach for spring break. Brittanee vents to her boyfriend, John, after leaving the house in a huff.
When Brittanee had told her mom that she wanted to go to South Carolina, her mom, obviously being a parent, said, no way, you're not going to South Carolina. You're 17 years old. And Brittanee retaliated. She got into a fight with her mom. Brittanee gave me a call. I came and picked her up and took her to her friend's house.
Later that day, Brittanee makes one last request to go to Myrtle Beach.
Well, she had to call and apologized how she acted that day. She says, Mom, can I go to Myrtle Beach? And I told her no. And she goes, why? And I said, Brittanee, because first of all, I don't know the people that you're going with. I said, there's no parents. And I said, something's gonna happen. And I said, I don't want anything to happen to you.
Brittanee then proposes a new idea for her spring break. She asks her mother if she can spend the rest of her vacation at a friend's house nearby. Her mother agrees. Brittanee promises to stay in touch by cell phone over the next few days. But in reality, Brittanee makes very different plans, which she shares with her boyfriend, John.
She said, you know, a bunch of my friends want me to go down to Myrtle Beach with them. And I told her, I think it's a good idea. I think you can get away from Rochester. I think it would do you good if you go down to South Carolina for 3 days. Because really, in my eyes, what was going to happen in 3 days?
Coming up, Brittanee's boyfriend's words come back to haunt him.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
Days before 17-year-old Brittanee Drexel disappears, she has an emotional fight with her mother, Dawn, who has refused to let her go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break. Frustrated, Brittanee asks to spend the rest of her vacation instead with a friend who lives nearby her home in Rochester, New York. Her mother agrees. But Brittanee has no intention of staying in upstate New York. She decides to make the trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, over 14 hours and 6 states away. She visits her boyfriend John at work before leaving.
It's a difficult memory for me to think about because I had that running in the back of my head, just as everybody does when they're saying goodbye to somebody for a period of time. I think, you know, what if this is the last time I see them? What if something happens? But then I pushed those thoughts to the side and thought, it's only 3 days.
Brittanee leaves Rochester with 4 other friends Wednesday night, hoping to be at the beach by the next morning.
The people that she went down with, I thought were trusting people. I didn't know them personally. She did ask me to come, and I could not go because I had work.
Over the next few days, Brittanee and John are in constant contact via cell phone, sometimes texting several times an hour. She tells him that she is staying at a hotel on the beach called the Bar Harbor Hotel.
While she was down there, her first few texts were, "This weather is incredible. I mean, there's palm trees. Being out by the ocean, it was incredible."
But it isn't only the soft sand and inviting water that entice Brittanee and her friends. With an abundance of bars and clubs, the area is a paradise for high schoolers enjoying independence for the first time. While the drinking age is 21, many of the clubs allow kids as young as 17 to enter.
The bars and the clubs down at Myrtle Beach, it's more based around money. They can get tons of teenagers to come in, and if they turn the blind eye to the fact that they're 16, 17 years old, they're still gonna make the money.
Brittanee takes full advantage of her spring break freedom. She tells her mom that she's watching movies at her friend's house in Rochester, while sharing with John that she is having an amazing vacation hundreds of miles away.
She was having a ton of fun. She was out having a good time, living the spring break life. She was with a bunch of her friends, having a good time.
But by the second day, all that changes. Brittanee starts feeling alienated from her friends.
Brittanee had told me that they were using a lot of drugs. She wasn't into the drug scene, and therefore she tried to exclude herself from that, and she tried doing things on her own. She walked to the restaurant by herself. She walked down to the beach by herself. Clearly, being in South Carolina, being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, that's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
Early Friday evening, Brittanee runs into a male friend from Rochester. 20-year-old Peter Brozowitz works for several local Rochester nightclubs. He's staying with some friends at the Blue Water Resort in Myrtle Beach, just a mile away from Brittanee's hotel.
Peter Brozowitz was a kid who I didn't know personally, but Brittanee did. He was always out at the parties at the clubs, so we became acquaintances through just the parties and knowing the same people. I assumed, being a good friend to Brittanee, that he would watch over her.
On Saturday afternoon, Brittanee's mom and sister, thinking that Brittanee is at her friend's house in Rochester, call to say that they just bought her a new pair of soccer cleats. They ask about her plans that day, now that the weather has suddenly shot up into the 80s, unusually warm for Rochester in April.
I asked her where she is, and she says I'm at the beach. Now, it was a decent day here in Rochester, and I thought she was at Charlotte Beach.
Charlotte Beach in Rochester is just 20 minutes from Brittanee's house. Dawn still believes that Brittanee is nearby and is being supervised by her friend's parents.
I had talked to her and also had to talk to a parent. She had put someone on the phone, I don't know who that was, and, said that it was okay for Brittanee to stay there. And I asked Brittanee what she had planned on doing later. And she said, well, we're gonna go over to my friend's house and we're just gonna watch movies and not do too much of anything.
Brittanee tells her mom that she'll return home the next day and thanks her for letting her spend the past few days with her friends.
She goes, I'll see you tomorrow, and then I love you. And I said, okay, I love you too. And then we hung up.
A seemingly normal conversation will soon take on tragic significance. It becomes the last time Dawn talks to her daughter before she disappears. Meanwhile, Brittanee decides to meet up with her friend Peter. Before she goes, she borrows a pair of shorts from one of her friends. At around 8 o'clock, Brittanee texts John en route to meet Peter at the Blue Water Resort. She continues to report that she is having a miserable time and that she is looking forward to coming home the next day.
She hated being down there, and she didn't like the people she went down with.
Shortly after arriving at the Blue Water Resort, Brittanee receives a text from her friend saying she wants her shorts back so she can wear them that night. Annoyed, Brittanee tells Peter she has to walk back to her hotel